Okay, enough about that. Enough about track spice. There are other things to discuss, like the men's 100 meters at Charles. I think we should probably get there next. It was the aforementioned Kenny Bednarik who came out on top in that event. Of course, Kung Fu Kenny ran to a lifetime best 9.79. I mean, that's rolling. He finished ahead of Aaron's training partner Courtney Lindsay and University of Tennessee's T. Mars McCallum. They'll round out the 100-meter squad for Worlds for the USA. And we just have to mention Trayvon Bromell, who missed the last qualification spot by 1/100th of a second. I mean, that was so heartbreaking, I think, because he's been one of the top Americans this season. So it's kind of hard not to see him challenge individually. But of course, AB, he'll be in the relay pool in Tokyo. But man, that 100 was really, really good.
It was, and they have said that there's Hayward Magic at Hayward Field, and that straightaway, some people call it the fastest straightaway in the world, and they showed exactly why. Because the way they were looking through the first two rounds, it was like, okay, it's going to be a pretty modest U.S. trials, and then that wind started blowing, and once that wind starts blowing, the time start flowing, and I expected nothing less from Kenny. He looked really good all season. With the Grand Slam wins and stuff, he was undefeated. He has a super amount of confidence going into the championship, especially having that newfound start, thanks to your boy. But
Pay me my money. You got
yeah.
You need it.
Jokes aside, he looked great. Courtney Lindsay, he came up 982. I didn't count that in for him, but kudos to him. He always shows up. I got to give a shout out to Christian Coleman as well. He's been adjusting to being in the group, my group as well, with my coach and a new training regime. And he finally put it together.
Yeah.
Came up just short, but in any other year, 986 would be enough to make the team. So that's unfortunate, but he will be in that relay poll along with Trayvon Bromell, who did his thing. And again, 984, not making the team. That's unbelievable. That usually can medal at World Championships. So it just shows the depth of the USA's. That whole field, man, just mad respect to the USA athletes who time in and time in show up at the USA trials, do their thing. And this was no exception. This was spectacular.
This was called Turkey. Somebody called Turkey because, listen, they can only send 3 unless you have a buy. Get Turkey on the hotline bling and get out. Anyways, next case.
Moving right along, the men weren't the only ones to light it up. The women also showed out too. And I've got to give some love to my teammate, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, once again doing her thing. She did something that hadn't been done in a long, long time. She raced to gold in the 100 on Friday with a world-leading time and personal best of 10:65, giving her the tied 5th best time of all time, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody that's ever ran as a woman, she's the 5th fastest of all time. You heard me, ever. And then 2 days later, ran it back in the deuce with the season's best of 21:84, finishing ahead of the reigning Olympic champion, Gabby Thomas. The last time a woman pulled off the double at trials in the USA meet was all the way back in 2003. So, Perdita, Melissa's been on fire all season. She came on our show, showed that she could sing, but she's multi-talented and definitely can do it in the 100 and the 200. What do you make of her season so far, and particularly at the USA trials?
You know what impresses me about her? Listen, there's a reason this hasn't been done in 22 years, because it is next to impossible. It is hard, people. The thing I like about Melissa, she is talented. She's physically gifted, hard worker, yes. You know what, to me, this woman's strong suit is? It's up here. It's what's between here. To me, that is her strongest muscle. I look at her, I'm like, she doesn't give, pardon my French, she doesn't give a flying fook. Like, she doesn't care who lines up against her. She wants this. She's doing it for her. And I think that is going to be the big difference for her this season. She doesn't care who she's lining up against. You're all going to get this work. Can I say this? As a proud St. Lucian Canadian, and with Julian Alfred as St. Lucia being the reigning Olympic champion, I'm somewhat Team Juju. Who can blame me? But I'm a little shook. I'm a little afraid. I'm a little scared of what Melissa Jefferson-Wooden is bringing to Tokyo with her. Juju's game is also like her mental game, nuts. So to see these two women, these two titans right now go head to head, I mean, this is going to be, for me, one of the biggest races to watch of the year, because it's not going to be easy. Whoever wins, it's not going to be an easy win. You are going to have to snatch it, don't push nobody, but I'm just saying you're going to have to take it. You're going to have to take it.
I agree. And I don't think that 10.5 is out of the realm of possibility.
Yes.
I'm just going to be honest, especially on that fast track in Tokyo. Ooh, that lineup is going to be crazy. That's definitely a must-watch race. But quickly, before we move on, I want to give a quick shout out to my teammate Kayla White, who had a huge breakthrough performance. She actually didn't even compete last year because she got hurt. But I promise you, in the fall, she was looking great, and she was going to do some special things last year. I had her pegged to make that team for sure, especially in the 200. But unfortunately, she didn't compete at all last year, and the Starthletics still swept the 100 meters for the women at USA Trials. So that just shows the depth of our group. Kayla White wasn't on a lot of people's radar, but she's been doing great things at practice. So it was amazing to see her come through with this breakthrough performance and make the team.
10.84. You're not lying. So one
Clock
of
it.
the things, right, that really shocked me though was Gabby Thomas, the reigning Olympic champion at 200 meters, having to wait with bated breath to see if she even made this team. She didn't at the end, third, but like thousandths of a second. Like what, they all had the same time? Like, so
Yeah.
what did you make of that when you watched it? Because I was like shook.
I'm gonna be honest. I watched the replay after I finished my race, and I didn't think she won. I didn't think she got third, based on the angle that I could see. She's coming from behind, and I guess she got her own momentum. But I feel like if Brittany Brown or Mackenzie Long had dipped properly, they would be going to Tokyo in that 200-meter spot. And that goes back
Talking
to
about dips
her.
again? I love when you
We're
talk
talking
about the
dips. We're
When I
talking
dip,
about
you
dips.
dip,
We're
we
going
dip.
back.
You're
Yeah,
working
they
on your
need a
dip.
little. They need a little more dip with that chip, but I know Gabby Thomas is sponsored by Cava, so she probably had some dip, some hummus on her chips, and that got her a spot, the third spot, and she's lucky. But she did have an interview afterwards and said she was dealing with some, I believe it was an Achilles injury and stuff like that, so she wasn't in the greatest form. We'll see how she looks in Tokyo. You can't count her out because she
Never.
showed that she can win the Olympics and be on the podium.
That's right.
So it's a big deal for her to still make a spot. That would have been a huge story if she didn't. But kudos to her. She was able to time the dip.
Yeah, shout out to Gabby and her coach, Tanja Buford Bailey. They got 6 weeks to get it right. Hopefully she's healthy going to Worlds. We have to talk about this next story. Jakori Richardson, her performance and her arrest this past weekend. It seems like she had a very tumultuous last few days. She scratched from the 100 after the opening heats. Not super surprising, as she has a lane in Tokyo and is the reigning world champion. But in the women's 200 meters, she has no automatic spot. She failed to make it into the final. All of this after she was arrested on Sunday, July 24th for assaulting her boyfriend, fellow USA sprinter Christian Coleman, at the airport in Seattle. The police report alleges that video surveillance showed Jakori getting into a really heated argument with Christian, where she shoved him multiple times and even threw a pair of headphones at him. Now, Christian did comment on this after he finished competing at trials, and here's what he had to say.
I don't feel as if she should have been arrested. You know what I'm saying? People have discussions and emotions and stuff like that. And she have things that she need to work on for herself, of course. And so do I, so do you, everybody. And I'm the type of guy, I'm in the business of just extending grace and mercy and love.
A couple things. I feel like the conversation around Jakori Richardson can usually be venomous or contentious. It's not necessarily about her talent. It's either you like her or you hate her. And I did not like this narrative swirling around her. What I love, though, is Christian Coleman, as her friend, partner, whatever this is now for them, still stood up and defended her and said, this is not the person I know, this is not her. And he also did not throw any more mud on her. I will also say that whatever it is, whether if it was switched or changed, of course the narrative would have been differently. You can't put your hands on anybody no matter what. But I will jump on what Christian said. I feel like there are things that Jakori is battling and dealing with that have nothing to do with performance. That there are things that if she's emotionally okay and things are going well with her, then she is unstoppable. No one can touch her. But I do feel like she carries a lot on the track, and we need to have more grace for her. And what I saw as a friend, standing up for her and being like, the person that you are throwing mud on, I'm not going to let you do that. And I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a master class in defending a friend.
Agreed. And, as someone who is in the group, I've been training with Jakori for a long time. And obviously, I'm a supporter of all my teammates, in particular her. I just wish her the best. And I know that when she's focused and locked in, she is, like you said, one of the best out there, one of the best talents that we've ever seen in this sport. And Christian said it great. Everybody has flaws and things that they can work on. And I just hope that she's able to get through hers and whatever challenges she's dealing with, she's able to overcome it and lock in and going into Tokyo. Because at the end of the day, this has the makings of an amazing field. It could be a generational race, and I would love for her to be a part of it. I know she can. I've seen her do some great things this year in training, and I'm just excited to see it translate onto the track, into the race, so that the world can see. No, Shakari has not gone anywhere. She's still one of the best out there. She's up there with the Melissa Jefferson-Woodens, with the Julian Alfreds. She can compete for those medals. And yeah, all the extra stuff, it's a distraction, and I hope that it gets sorted out and we can just put this behind us and have a great Tokyo to look forward to rather than any other off-track stuff. I know my group loves to dominate headlines, and I just hope that it's all for the right reasons, and it's more just about our performances and us doing great stuff and not any of that.
I'm putting you in a tough spot.
I know.
Star Athletics is all over.
Yeah. For good reasons and not so great reasons, but I'm doing my best to be objective as much as I can as a co-host. Still deliver the real, give the news, but also support my teammates and have their back. So. I hope I'm doing a good job.
You're crushing that. You're crushing that part. Honestly, like I say to you all the time, if I was your teammate, the way you handle this role, this position, and also, listen, you have like intimate information and knowledge on these people. You see them in their highest, their lowest, their frustrations. You see it all, and you're not betraying that with anyone. But you are also very matter of fact and diplomatic. You call it what it is, and I think it's the perfect, honest, sincere balance. Truthfully, some things I find out later. Aaron doesn't even tell me stuff. I find out later on the news, and I'm like, Aaron, I've been your co-host for 3 months now. You don't tell me these things. But anyways. Moving on. You can announce your arrival in a number of ways. And 16-year-old Cooper Lutkenhaus did it very, very dramatically in the men's 800 meters. Heading into the final turn, it looked like a race between 4 people for 3 spots to Tokyo. But it was Cooper who chased everybody down in the last 200 meters, storming to a second place in a U18 world record of what? 1:42.27. Just to emphasize how impressive that is, some track nerds somewhere decided to compare his time to what it would be comparatively in a few other events. So in the 100 meters, that would equal a 9.79 rolling, and in the 2, a 19.58. Now let me just say this, AB, I don't really know about all that. I don't know about these conversions, these stats. But anyways, very nicely done, thank you. But what I do know is that this kid isn't even a senior in high school, and he'll be the youngest athlete ever to make Team USA's roster at the World Championships. I mean, there's a lot to say, but basically, our boy Coop, can I call him that? I'm calling him that. Our boy Coop, the boy is on fire.
Coop. I mean, at this point, he's going to be a household name.
Right.
Some people online were calling this the greatest high school performance of any sport ever. And
over Alan Webb in the mile? Okay.
Hey.
And LeBron James?
142.2 is next level running. I don't know how it compares against other great performances in high school, but this is just I'm lost for words because, like you said, it's comparatively 979, 1958 in high school. And this guy is 16 years old. The high school record is now faster than the collegiate NCAA record. Just let that sink in. All the greats that have gone through the NCAA circuit, this is over a second faster now. That's just mind-blowing, You know
what else is funny? Is he'll go to Tokyo. Has this guy ever run outside of Texas? Has he ever run out of the USA? I don't know. Also,
I don't know.
When he goes to Tokyo, that's in September. Bro is missing high school. Like he's missing all his classes. I mean, that's a good reason. That's a good excuse.
He hasn't even gone to prom yet, and he's already, going to Tokyo on the World Championship team. He's 16 years old. Can he drive? Does he have his license?
No, can't drive.
I need to know more about this guy. Yeah,
Me too.
Yeah, this guy could be the future world record holder. And when Marco finally goes 139, this guy's gonna be chasing it. So
this is true.
We'll see.
He's never had a legal drink, mind you. He's never done that at 16 years old. There's a lot he hasn't experienced, but he's going to the World Championships. Incredible,
He's going.
Coop.
And I know Coop dominated the headlines, but I do have to give a quick shout out to Donovan Brazier, who's on the comeback trail. He ran 142.16, a new lifetime best, to win the USA Championship. So shout out to him. It's good to see him back on the circuit. Moving right along to Perdita's event, which was the 100-meter hurdles. And Perdita, we got to talk about that. In this one, it was looking like it was wide open coming into this event. Masai Russell, the Olympic champion, would have been considered the clear favorite, having broken the American record this year, but she'd been experiencing some injury troubles leading into the trials. And you couldn't tell in this race, though. She looked very dominant as she stormed to a national title in a time of 12:22 seconds, which would have been right about the world record years ago before this event went bonkers. Perdita, what'd you make of this performance by Masai? Pretty dominant, right? She was putting the crown on her head.
Yeah.
She wanted to let him know.
Did you see that? She was like, put it here. I was like, yes, girl, talk that talk, money. So I was worried about Masai, and honestly, everybody that ran really early in Grand Slam, I'm like, how are you going to maintain your fitness? How are you not going to get tapped out? Because remember, Grand Slam made them run 100 meters as well. She has put all that to rest for me. She is ready. She is there. I say this all the time, and I know what I know. This is the hardest event to predict, but once again, Masai Russell, the Olympic champion, gets it right. All right, let's talk about the men's version, the men's 110 meters. Coming into this race, we looked at the field. There were like 4 to 6 guys who could legit make the team, right? And it was 19-year-old Jakori Patterson who stunned the field with a new personal best, 13:01. Cordell Tinch finished second, and Dylan Beard grabbed that last spot. But it was Trey Cunningham who looked absolutely gutted after this one. And it's really because he was one of the main contenders for a spot at Worlds. If you had to put him on your bingo card, you would have, okay? Proving again, like I've said, this is one of the hardest events to call and one of the hardest things to make. Things as in teams, okay? Things as in teams. AB, I gotta say this though. You got it right because you did talk about Jacoby. Did you not? Did you not call this one?
I did. And I had him making a spot potentially. I knew he could mix it up. It was a deep field, but I didn't have him winning. I'll be honest. But, when you see someone who's hot in college, sometimes they carry over that momentum into the U.S. trials because it's pretty soon after and they're still in good shape, still peaked for the championships. Yes. And so shout out to him for getting that win. Cordell Tinch has been great all year. He ran that 12.8 earlier in the season, and for him to get back on the team, we'd like to see him get back down into those 12s come Tokyo. Dylan Beard, shout out to him, Mr. Walmart. He's come a long way. We were introduced to him at the Grand Slam as well, and he's carried over that momentum and good racing into a first team on the USA team going into Tokyo. And Trey Cunningham, man, it sucks. He was definitely gutted, and I feel his pain. He's been consistent all year and just missed up making the team, coming up short, running 13:10. And not being good enough to make the team, that's got to hurt, man. He's been consistent all year, and you would think that was one of the 3 spots. I definitely had him pegged, but unfortunately, he won't be going to Tokyo. But that is how USA's goes, and we'll move right along to the men's 400. I got to give some love to our boy and friend of the show, Jakori Patterson. He had that UPS mentality, carried it into the race. This man has been on fire all season and came out on top in the men's 400 meters, and he did so in a time of 44:16 seconds, finishing ahead of world indoor champion Chris Bailey and Caleb McRae, who rounded out the team. So Perdita, how do you like his medal chances going into Tokyo?
Jakori is about to medal at World Championships, okay?
Ooh.
And yes, he just has momentum. And AB, you and I know all about that. Any track star understands what momentum is. It just carries you through, and he has that right now. And of course, he's coached by Alain Francique. They're going to time it. They're going to get it right. And again, no more UPS. He signed that contract with Nike. He's good. He's Gucci. Yeah. He got this.
I saw he was still getting questions about the UPS. Do you think he's sick of it now?
I think he's sick of it. I think we'll never mention it again, or he'll never come back for season 2 of our show. So we should shut up about it. Okay, let's talk about the women's 400 meters. Sydney McLolin-Levrone, she won the title in a signature dominant fashion. Not an American record, AB, but still a blazing 48.9. Regarding that record, we've been talking about it for weeks. She really wants to break that American record set by Sanya Richards-Ross all the way back in the olden days of 2006, 48.70. AB, she was 0.2 of a second. So in your mind, is it just a matter of time? Will she do it this season? Must she do it this season?
I believe so. And if she wants a chance of winning that title in Tokyo in the 400 meters, mixing up with the likes of Nasser and Marlady Paulino, she's going to have to break that record. She's been very close. She's run 48.7 a couple of times and been on the cusp of it, 48.9 in the USA Championships this time. And I just want her to get the record so we can stop talking about it and move on to what the main course is, which is her versus those other ladies that I mentioned, mixing it up in Tokyo.
I want to ask Sanya if she cares about her breaking her record. I don't think Sanya would care, but I don't know. I want to know about that, and we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to talk about the biggest omissions. I sound like a broken record, but this is the hardest team to make. Some people who will not, maybe not, be in Tokyo for Team USA. Let me say that. In the men's 1,500 meters, it was the reigning Olympic bronze medalist Yar Nagus. He ran hard from the start and was eventually outkicked by 3 Americans in that race, ending up 5th. It will not get to Tokyo, at least on that way. But he can still qualify by winning the Diamond League final in Zurich. That's, of course, at the end of August. Then the men's shot put. It was 3-time Olympic silver medalist Joe Kovac, who was on the outside looking in. On the day, he could only manage a throw of 22.07. That got him 4th. Unlike Nagus, Kovac won't be eligible for a wildcard spot from Zurich, even if he wins it, even if he breaks some record. So AB, 2 potential podium threats, not going to Worlds. Were either one of these like a bigger shock to you?
They're both huge ripples throughout the track and field world, but I'm gonna go with Yard Nagus. I'm gonna be honest. I was watching that race and I just assumed he would make the team because I'm so used to the superstars in that event mixing it up in Tokyo. You know, you got him, you got Cole Hawker, you got Ingebrigtsen, and you got our boy Josh Kerr. And I'm just so used to them making it through. And when he didn't make it and finished 5th, I was like, wait, he's not going to Tokyo. This is strange. You know, I'm so used to Yar Nagus being one of the protagonists in the event. So to me, that was the biggest shock. You know, also Kovac is a huge shock as well. He's a name that is a household name in the shot put. I'm always used to looking over at the shop. I'm like, okay, what's Ryan Krauser doing? What's Kovac doing?
Easy.
Those are the guys that have been dominating for years. And for him not to be able to go, it's crazy.
That's nuts. I don't like it for them. That's happened to me before in 2012, but I don't want to talk about it.